Hey, it's because I'm already boss lines. It's me, Spike's on there. Coming to in this video, I am going to be doing 6 drawings in this video. And the 6, well, originally it was 4, are all text and story YouTubers. And they are in the following order of Scarecrow TS, followed up by VonLang Phoenix Soul, then Reaper's Stories, and then Moderou's Texting Stories, and then finally, Snow Stories and Ellie. So without further ado, let's roll intro, let's get into this video, and let's go. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. So many people, so many times. A little time. In the Adventure Guild and Tempest, there are multiple factions and some smaller ones within it. There are one member of these factions, one part of these factions is within the Adventures Guild. It is known as the story and pretty much the entertainment faction. They tell stories of their adventures and etc. Some of them act out or play chess games with the young people as well. Some are better at playing games than others. Some are very bad at playing games, but still do it for the enjoyment. But within a subsection of these, there are some other ones that mostly focus on one game, but I'm referring to stories for this one. The stories are mostly in text. They mostly use these crystal balls to tell their stories. These are a handful of these adventurers. The first one is known as, well, funny enough, he's a reincarnation. Matter of fact, like a chunk of these are reincarnation. Some of them aren't. But this first one is. He originally went by Scarecrow TS on a social media service on his back in his home world. In this world, he's known as Qual, meaning scary or something. Race demonoid, skill butcher reaper. He's a very valiant fighter, and he's a very vicious one at that. Using his ability to open portals. Originally, he wanted to be something like a butcher, but against that ability, it didn't really suit out for him. But he did keep some butcher-like abilities, and the fact that he knows how to disable and pretty much cut up a good chunk of meat easily, humans included. So, this is a guy I would not want to pin into a fight. Now, his unique skill, Butcher Reaper, like the name suggests, gives him the ability to summon, well, anything a Reaper would use. Namely, a scythe and also the ability to pretty much kill people in one go. But he can also see the dead and guide them to their afterlife. Now, his ability to open portals is simple enough, but he also has the ability to teleport. Now, those portals also lead to a small weapons vault that he keeps for himself. One of these is a main weapon of his he calls the Butchering Scythe. The Butchering Scythe is his preferable weapon of choice whenever he has to fight strong opponents. These are people like some other adventurers every now and again, but he's also made some friends along the way. Another one is a distant relative of sorts to one of the more, how do you say, well-known races among this multiverse. But back onto my universe. There are multiple abilities he has. He also has the ability to summon chains off his back. Some could end in a butcher's cleaver, which he has done before. And another one can end in a meat hook. Two weapons he keeps on him at all times are meat hooks themselves. One is always on his left side, which is a simple grab and hack and slash like weapon. One, on the other hand, literally, on his right hand. It is literally has a guard on top of it, so he can actually use this in something like a sword fight. He can use this to disable his opponent, but also, if he wants to, he could grab them by their ankle, embed the hook into their thigh or leg, and then hang them upside down using one of his chains. He is very violent, yes, but mostly to enemies of Tempest, or pretty much to whoever gets in his way. And some other abilities of his include, but not limited to, well, a mask of his. This mask is known as the Fearful Mask. This mask looks pretty demonic, and it's fitting, because it can strike fear in anyone that's weaker than the user that the user wants. So he can stare at you, be perfectly fine, but stare at your next door neighbor that he hates a lot, and the next door neighbor will cower in fear because of the Fearful Mask. But it also depends on how strong-willed the person is. They could be physically weaker than him, but have a stronger will and be able to withstand it somewhat. Let's move on to the next one. The next person is actually a cryptid. It's actually related. They're actually related to, how do you say this? The Chimeric Lord Kumara. Funny enough, they're actually their best friend. Kumara thought she was the only person to survive her entire nation being wiped out, but her mother, in a way, also survived. But she later learned of a good phoenix friend of hers named, well, he didn't have a name at the moment, but they called him Fiend. Later, when he managed to find his way to Tempest, she had actually evolved after being named by Guy Crimson. This would explain his prideful nature somewhat, but he's also very kind and compassionate when need be. He has the ability to summon flames and control them. Reamer later helped him evolve into a very powerful race, but still within the cryptid family. But needless to say that he is a powerhouse, mostly in regards to his ultimate skill, Burning Soul Lord Phoenix. His name is VonLang. VonLang is a fire user, like I stated, but he's also mostly known to torch his enemies, quite literally, and very much similar to Qual, he is very brutal at times. Although they have similar jobs in the inventory department, they are fairly different outside. They both enjoy telling stories, but VonLang has been focusing on one story recently of someone that is actually shown up in quite a lot of other stories people have heard. This person being the hero that's from another world, known as Azuka Midoriya, aka Deku. He is a Kijin. I can't quite remember. Kijin? Yeah, Kijin. An evolved race of an ogre. He's very powerful, but people are making stories about him, saying what if he was a villain and stuff like that. He's also had to kill someone named AFO when he first got back here, as well as Shigaraki and Overhaul. Those guys were, from what I've heard, were dicks. He's also very close to Rimuru himself, but needless to say, he's also his daughter, Aerie, is fairly close to Rimuru's, children. Rimuru has a few wives, namely Malim Nava, and his own subordinates, Oshuna, Shin'en, as well as the demoness tree of Tessarossa, Chimera, and Ultima. They're all extremely powerful in their own rights, but the ones I'm going to be talking about later are going to be closely related to Malim's children. Now, emphatically, in a way, they're going to be their aunties. But back to Phoenix. Phoenix, well, he mostly focuses on his own story of a black Oni version of Izuku. Well, pretty much what Izuku was related to Noir of sorts. Noir is the black primordial demon, and his ultimate skill is Temptation Lord Azazel. Very powerful, might I add. And Izuku in this one has quite a few abilities that Izuku, right now, once he read it, he okayed it, and he was perfectly fine with it being uploaded. Not really uploaded, but kind of posted for allowed people to read. It's rarely updated every now and again, but it's a very powerful and very interesting story. Anyways, on to more of the abilities of VonLang himself. VonLang himself has the ability to, well, control fire, but also to literally fly using it. So, yeah, he can also shoot fire from his hands, and he can also be reborn from flames even if he were to die. He's also gained the nickname from that, Ashborn. But he is also closely related to some dragons, mostly the dragon of fire. The next one is, how do you say, getting into some more absurd territories. A relative to Beretta and the fact that they appeared around the same time, and they are named Ace. They're the same race as Beretta, but they're not the same type of demon. Well, they weren't the same type of demon. Ace was, funny enough, a very rare type of demon. One of, not the blacks, but of the new violet. So he was quite violent and prideful. But just like his ancestor, predecessor, well, whatever, I'm going to say predecessor, but just like his predecessor, Ultima, he has calmed down quite a bit, and he's actually picked up a life in Tempest. One of, well, creating stories as well. Some of the stories mostly revolve around a female version of Izuku. Oh boy. Izuku preferred to look away. He was quite blushing a few times whenever he read some. Now, for Ace, the race was Chaos Dog, just like Beretta. But his ultimate skill is not Machine God X's Machia or whatever, or Divine Machine Lord or whatever. It's actually the Scythe-Winged Assassination ultimate skill. This ultimate skill allows the user to create up to a pair of scythe wings on their back. The wings are you think, are made of scythes. These scythes can also be shot off like feathers, similar to hawks' wings. Now, these assassinations are mostly top secret and very sneaky. Mostly hired by Rimuru or some other high-profile person in Tempest. Now, the average person can hire an assassination in Tempest, but they prefer not to. They prefer to be peaceful people. But some people just need to be offed out. So, that's why Ace is here. Ace is a very fast and stealthy flyer whenever they're not creating stories. Some of their more popular stories are only seen amongst a few hundred people. Maybe that's pushing it at times. But they are very kind, and when you get to know them. Although, once you see them in fights, you would see why they get the name the Scythe Wraith, or the Scythe Reaper, depending on who you ask. They are very violent and very good at the weapon. Matter of factly, they've had some of the best blacksmiths in Tempest, mainly Kaijin and Kurobe, create them their own weapon. They have actually had to redesign their face, which was very similar to Beretta's, to make it look like they have a mouth guard on at all times, when in reality they don't. They have glowing red eyes, and their scythe has actually become a part of their winged scythe assassination ultimate skill. It was actually one of the very few things that they needed to actually establish a ultimate skill. They originally had a unique skill that was quite powerful, but it was known as scythe assassination. Winged assassination, actually. Winged assassination gave the user very, very beautiful wings that were made of metal but weren't very sharp. And they could shoot the wings off like feathers and control them like hawks. But these are a lot more powerful, hence the reason why it's an ultimate skill level. Much an ultimate skill. Now, they aren't seen that much while patrolling around the halls of the Adventurers Guild all that often. But they can be mostly found at home writing stories or trying to figure out. So mostly suffering from writer's block. Now, this person is actually one of the more close friends to Spikos, or more like they would be called Kuma Diablo. But I'll talk about them later. That's all for this one. Now for the last three. This guy is by far one of the more powerful ones. Name Moderou. Race Space Spirit Insect. Skills Martial Arts God. Takemi Kazuchi no Kami. It's his ultimate skill. And they have a unique skill known as Jujutsu God. Jujutsu God has a permanent effect on the body of the person. It gives them a purple-like eye on their head. But they also can be using different types of martial arts thanks to their first skill, which was their ultimate. But when they combine these two, they can make some pretty devastating attacks, like the Jujutsu Gamma Beam. The Jujutsu Gamma Beam is pretty much their regular hand movements for the fire jutsu they've learned, but later amped up with the martial arts god Takemi Mazuchi no Kami. I'm just gonna say the martial arts god. The martial arts god ultimate skill. And when it's taken and combined with it, it's a very powerful ability, able to decimate the entirety of the Tempest army within 3 hits. That is just talking about the lowest ranked members. The lowest ranked members are powerful, but not nearly as powerful as some of the higher ranked members, like the commander of the entire army, Benimaru, or the the trainer, the military trainer known as Hagakuro. That dude is very brutal. Hagakuro actually is the main person who helped Moderou create their ultimate unique skill. Moderou learned the Jujutsus from Hagakuro. He could not really use them all that much because they actually took up some of his own magicules, but mostly magicules from the surrounding area. Some of the more taxing ones were like something like a sealing or death seal jujutsu that took the person's life force, nearly killing them or killing them and stealing them away. But Moderou was able to use this one every now and again without it taking a significant heavy toll, namely because of the fact that their race spirit, space spirit insect, is namely due to the fact that they can control space-time using their ultimate skills. It's a very powerful, their ultimate and unique skill to a certain extent. Now, the Fireball Jiu-Jitsu Gamma Ray, it combines the martial arts of modes, which is something that Moderou actually learned. Funny enough, this person was actually a person who mostly helped him, his Hisagaku, who did teach him a few jutsus, were a reincarnation of Moderou, which was whose named something else, and a reincarnation known someone as Garou. Garou helped him create his martial arts called Ultimate Skill, whereas his Jujutsu unique skill came from Moderou. Moderou gave him one of his eyes, which was a criteria for the unique skill to fully awaken. It was originally just known as Jujutsu Master, but once he got this one, he could be able to summon meteors and stuff like that. Now, when they're not creating stories, they are out and about writing. Not mostly writing, but also fighting, and are very adept in martial arts. Sometimes Rimuru has them come in and teach a class every now and again. They are very, very efficient when it comes to some of their teaching methods, and they are somewhat like a Gakuro and how brutal they are at times. They got stronger drastically from fighting stronger and stronger opponents. At the moment, they are having trouble fighting someone like Hinata or Chloe, who are on par or stronger, in Chloe's case, than Veldora. So, there's that. Now, moving on to the ones that are related to some of Malim's aunts. Well, aunt in this case. One is a mayor. One is one married into the family, so to speak. Velda Nava's daughter, Malim Nava, is, her aunt, who's a ice user, is actually the true dragon of Velzard. Velzard is, has the ultimate, the absolute defense, pretty much giving them the ability to use ice to create it. Pretty much it's slowing and killing off anyone around on the ice continent that gets too close, that she doesn't want to get too close. Now, these two are also very close with Izuku. They are They're a couple of two girls, and they are very nice. Although the second one is a lot more shy, and actually, funny enough, this one is actually able to take a lot more hits, and is actually less squeamish when having to kill. Now, the first one I'm talking about is Shirayuki. Shirayuki is the one who's biologically related, in a way, to Malim. Malim is is her cousin, and the children of Malim and Rimuru do call her auntie, or auntie at times, but in reality it's their second cousin. But they are a very close family, and Malim's aunt is very, very kind. Now, something I've learned about Shirayuki. She may be the daughter of Guy Crimson, and also a good friend to VonLang, but her life wasn't all that easy. She, being born in the ice continent, she was able to learn and create her own unique skills very easily. Now notice when I say unique skills. She has two, due to being the daughter of Velzard. She's gained the unique skill Ice Queen? Yeah, Ice Queen. And she's also gained the other unique skill, Snowstorm. Ice Queen allows the user to, whenever it's activated for the record, it creates an ice crown above their head that is always there until they deactivate it. Or sometimes it actually just activates for no reason. It also gives off an aura of ice that could chill an entire room, even if it's 100 degrees in there. So, yeah. I speculated that Velzard has some control over this unique skill, because whenever she is thinking about something bad about to happen to her daughter or something, it flares up. And I have actually had a body double go out and check this out, and it's pretty close to the times. But her second skill, Snowstorm, it is fairly weak compared to her Ice Queen. Her Ice Queen allows her to control and create anything out of ice, and it can give off a very, very cold aura. But couple it with her Snowstorm skill, both are a very deadly combination. Now, whereas the ice from the Ice Queen is very sharp and very durable, it is also very cold. It can give someone frostbite, but it takes a few hits for it to come in. But with the Snowstorm unique skill, the frostbite could actually come in a lot faster. And not just that, it also, and coupled with her aura from her Ice Queen skill, it allows her to create an ice storm along with a snow blizzard around her for a very, very good offense and defense. So it's a very, very powerful ability and a very powerful combination of unique skills. So let's move on to the last one. Now for the final one. The final one is known as Ellie. Ellie and Shiryuki are both reincarnations. They were a married couple in their previous life, both lesbians, and they are a reincarnated lesbian couple in this world. Ellie was reborn as a demonoid, although I can't tell you which type she is. She possesses traits from every single type, a very combative one, a very shy one, but she's not afraid to get her hands dirty. I've mostly gone to the part that she's most likely a black demonoid, but one of her parents is a black demonoid under Velzard and Guy Crimson in the Ice Continent, namely because of the fact that she could be closely related to someone with a nice skill, but her quirk is Snow Blizzard. It's more of a lesser ice using power. Unique skill. This skill allows the user to pretty much freeze anyone near instantaneously using the ice. Now, they can also create a very large snowstorm around them. They always have this part activated, and whenever they want to create something out of ice, their hands get frostbitten in a way. It's mostly there to protect them from the pure overflowing magicals coming from said weapon. Now, you might be thinking, well, surprisingly, how can she withstand this? Her demon side, which is part of her demonoid heritage, is a very durable and very powerful demon. I'm able to tell you that much. But her human side, from what I can tell, possibly another race, not human, but very close to it, is also very adorable. But also, they both have some affinity for ice. I'm pretty sure her mother was the human and her father was the demon. But they both have ice-like abilities, and the best way to put it is that they could literally create snowstorms when both using their skills in tandem with one another. Now, this married couple of Ellie and Shirayuki is mostly around in Tempest every now and again. Namely because Velzard is kind of possessive of her daughter. Now, Velzard has learned over the years to be less and less pushy and less possessive, but they have always been together since they were young. From my calculations, it's been 14 years since they gotten together. Now, they have 4 kids, but I am not going to talk about them. I'm talking about what their parents were like when they were younger. Their first mother, Ellie, is a very powerful ice user, and she's able to create a very powerful snow user, and she's able to create snowstorms at will, thanks to her unique skill. Whereas their other mother, Shirayuki, is able to use both of her unique skills to pretty much obliterate armies. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this on Ellie's profile is because she wanted me to mention her wife. The interview I had with both of them, they wanted me to talk about their married life a little bit, but I couldn't really find a way to fit this in. So I decided to tell y'all this part. Be careful when you talk to them. You never know when Shirayuki's powers might, come up and freeze over. But they're both very nice people, and Velzard has learned to be less worrisome about her daughter. They're very powerful skill users and know how to put a fight. And that is pretty much it for today. Although Ellie is known for her own original story, and Shirayuki is mostly known for female versions of Zuko stories. Zuko is a big blushing mess whenever this happens. And let's just say his wife, Ochako, is not a very happy person when she reads some of the stories. She is quite possessive of her husband, but in a good defensive way. But that's all for today. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed today's video, because I'm afraid this is the time I got for today. But until next time, subscribe to the Spark Astronomy or do my slash. Goodbye and peace out, everyone.